You've leveled a class to max level. Now what? Turns out there's quite a lot of what. While leveling a class to level cap gives you access to your full toolkit and the best equipment, it's only the beginning of the journey. Now that you have all those skills, it's time to learn how to use them, and that is where the real fun begins. Quick note, this video was recorded during the final days of Shadowbringers, where the level cap was 80. That being said, the principle of what we're talking about is still applicable. I have all of my healers at level 80. Healing is my favorite thing to do, and I have put a lot of my time into learning as much about it as possible. I can confidently say I have a long way to go. Most of my hours have gone into Astrologian. It's my favorite class and my main, but there's so much nuance to the class and healing in general. A skill like Earthly Star has amazing potential, but using it to that full potential takes trial and error. A lot of trial and error. Knowing when to use a primed horoscope versus an unprimed one follows a similar path, and while I'm starting to get more comfortable with these, there's still a long way to go. Scholar is a completely different story. Yes, I know what my skills do, and yes, I have a basic understanding of when and how to use them. I could make my way through expert roulettes and could probably clear extreme trials and savage raids. But it would be ugly, like really bad. And the fight would take longer than it needs to because my DPS would be low. Part of what comes with diving into the class at its highest level and taking it into higher level difficulty content is developing that comfort and muscle memory, knowing how to anticipate what skills will be used where, getting an understanding of how long each cast is. It sounds like a bit of a lofty idea, but knowing how long it takes to cast a broil on paper versus truly being able to just feel in the moment how long the cast will take are two very different things. In-game, there's something called clipping your GCD. This means that you have weaved an off-global cooldown incorrectly, and it has delayed your next GCD by a fraction of a second, which doesn't seem like a huge deal when you look at it in a bubble. But over the course of an 8 to 10 minute fight, or longer for ultimates, it adds up quickly. I knew about this, I understood what it meant, but I can remember the moment I was in E9S and I actually began to feel when I had clipped my GCD. It's such a small delay, but it made a huge impact. It's the difference of being told the stove is hot versus actually touching the stove and finding out. This isn't just about healing either. All roles in Final Fantasy XIV have these kinds of layers to them. Take Black Mage, for instance. I love this class. Part of it is absolutely that I'm addicted to the giant explosions and absurdly large critical hit numbers, but it's more than that. The skill ceiling for this class is somewhere in outer space. Nothing pulls me towards a class more than having so much to learn to operate it. Watch a speed kill of a savage raid boss, and you'll see what I mean. The amount of forethought that goes into it is unbelievable. Moving only at the precise time and only just as far as they need to. Not only that, but you'll see them use their toolkit in incredible ways. They don't follow the same pattern every time. Their rotation will change based on the next time they need to move. You can also look at skills like Addle and Feint. I know this is a fault of mine and doesn't reflect everyone's experience, but I can count the number of times I used those skills early in my time in Final Fantasy XIV on one hand, and half of those it was by mistake. I just didn't think about mitigating party damage while I was focusing on my DPS rotation. I would oftentimes just get lost in my rotation and trying to learn mechanics. As a matter of fact, I couldn't tell you the names of most moves and what each move did until I switched to healing and tanking. Again, I know this isn't everyone's experience, but this is the level of comfort that I'm referring to. Being able to confidently keep uptime and go through your rotation while also paying attention to when you need to help mitigate damage, reposition, etc. There's also just the level of pure damage output to consider. Classes like Black Mage and Samurai are capable, at least currently, of achieving the highest DPS in-game, but that doesn't mean that they just automatically will. To really begin to even close in on that, it takes a substantial understanding of openers, mechanics, movement, when you can keep uptime, etc. Again, it's the difference between knowing what the tools in your kit are versus knowing how to use them. And this difference, this nuance, is exactly what we're talking about. The gulf between a player that has just reached max level and unlocked their final skill versus one that has spent hours upon hours learning just how to operate with those skills is immense. And this isn't a bad thing. The fact that there's so much to learn is just another excuse to spend more time in Eorzea. It can seem overwhelming. Leveling a class takes a lot of work, and there's no discounting that here. It's simply the beginning of an awesome journey. So let's get started. I will see you out there.